Welcome to our deep dive.
Oh, it's great to be here.
You've sent over this really interesting mix of articles and reports all about the future of crypto, AI, and robotics. And honestly, I'd say there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on.
So we're going to be focusing on this Exponential TOM newsletter from January 24th, 2025, which uses AI to give us the top news in these fields. I mean, Bitcoin is over $100,000.
Yeah.
Trump is making some pretty interesting plays in both crypto and AI. And then humanoid robots are getting a ton of funding.
It's a lot to cover for sure.
Where do we even begin?
Well, I think, this convergence of all these technologies is really something to watch. It feels like a lot of different trends are hitting this tipping point kind of all at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Let's unpack this. So the newsletter highlights some surprisingly positive crypto regulation that's happening in the U.S. right now.
Right.
Particularly under the Trump administration.
Right, and that's interesting because, we've seen so much uncertainty in the past. But this newsletter points out the SEC getting rid of something called Staff Accounting Bulletin 121.
Okay.
Which basically made it really, really hard for institutions to actually hold on to crypto.
So does this mean we could see a wave of, big players, banks, hedge funds diving into crypto now?
It's certainly possible. I mean, removing that accounting hurdle would definitely make crypto, especially Bitcoin, much more attractive to these institutional investors.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, we also have to consider Trump's executive order. So in that, he includes something called a strategic digital asset stockpile.
Okay.
And bans central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, in the U.S.
Strategic digital asset stockpile. That's got a bit of a 007 ring to it. What are the implications of something like that?
Well, it suggests that the U.S. government is finally starting to recognize the potential value and importance of cryptocurrencies, on a global level. By stockpiling assets, specifically like Bitcoin, they're essentially acknowledging their potential role in this future financial system.
Okay.
But then by banning CBDCs, it seems to be signaling a support for decentralized currencies instead.
So, I mean, is this a sign that the U.S. government is, warming up to Bitcoin?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. I mean, this shift towards more clarity, more support, it could be a major catalyst for more widespread adoption. Imagine a world, where using Bitcoin is as common as using a credit card.
Okay, so Bitcoin's making waves, but Ethereum has its own big upgrade coming up on March 11th. It's called Pectra, right?
That's right, yeah.
Faster transactions, better privacy, all good things. Right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Scalability has always been a challenge for Ethereum. And if this Pectra upgrade delivers on its promises, it could really solidify Ethereum's position as that leading platform for decentralized applications.
Yeah, okay. And I also see there's this Etherealize initiative that's mentioned too.
Right.
Is this like a push to get more businesses using Ethereum?
Exactly. It looks like a campaign to showcase, these real-world applications of Ethereum, especially for enterprise solutions. And that kind of focused effort could be really, really effective in attracting more institutional interest. Think about things like supply chain management, secure voting systems, even fractional ownership of real estate.
Wow.
All running on Ethereum.
Yeah, that's quite a contrast to what we're seeing in the DeFi space.
Right.
The newsletter mentions THORChain facing insolvency and their validators having to pause operations. What does this mean for the future of decentralized finance?
Well, I think it's a reminder that DeFi is still relatively new territory and, that there are these inherent risks involved. THORChain's situation underscores the importance of sustainable tokenomics.
Okay.
That's, the underlying economics of how a token is actually designed and used.
Right.
And how crucial it is to have responsible governance in place for these protocols.
So for someone who's just starting to explore crypto, what's the most important thing to keep in mind when it comes to DeFi?
I would say do your research. Don't just get swept up in the excitement.
Yeah.
Look for projects with solid fundamentals, transparent teams, proven track record. And always remember, never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Sound advice.
Yeah.
Now, NFTs seem to be having a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
But the newsletter mentions Pudgy Penguins as a project that's holding strong. What makes them so different?
Well, it seems to be all about the power of community.
Okay.
Pudgy penguins have built this really dedicated following, even when, the overall market has been volatile.
Right.
They've focused on creating a sense of belonging, this shared value, which is really appealing to these NFT enthusiasts.
So if you're interested in NFTs, should you be looking for projects with that strong sense of community?
Absolutely. Look for active and engaged communities, strong leadership, a clear vision for the future. And don't be afraid to ask questions. The NFT space can be complex, but there are plenty of resources and communities out there to help you navigate it.
Let's switch gears now and dive into AI, where things seem to be moving at warp speed. So Trump is making some bold moves, revoking safety regulations on one hand,
Right.
but simultaneously announcing a massive $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure on the other.
Yeah.
What do you make of this seemingly contradictory approach?
It is a fascinating strategy. I mean, on the one hand, reducing those regulations could lead to this surge in AI innovation, allowing companies to develop and deploy new technologies much, much faster.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it does raise these important questions about potential risks and the ethical implications of such rapid development.
So it's like hitting the gas pedal while taking your hands off the steering wheel. Exciting, but potentially dangerous.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And then you have that huge $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure.
Right.
That has the potential to completely reshape the global AI landscape, really position the U.S. as a leader in the field.
But what does all of this mean for, the average person? How will AI actually impact our lives in, a tangible way?
Well, I think, we're already seeing AI's influence in so many areas of our lives. I mean, personalized medicine, self-driving cars,
Yeah.
the algorithms that curate your social media feeds.
Right.
Those are all powered by AI, and this is just the beginning. Think about how AI could transform healthcare, education, transportation, even entertainment in the coming years.
Speaking of transformative technologies, this newsletter mentions OpenAI's new operator model, which can autonomously control web browsers and execute complex tasks. It's a little bit unsettling.
It certainly blurs the lines between a simple AI assistant and this truly autonomous agent. Imagine being able to just tell your AI to book your flights, schedule your appointments, maybe even draft emails for you.
Wow.
The potential for increased productivity across industries is immense.
That sounds amazing. But I can't help but think about, the potential downsides.
Yeah.
What about the impact on jobs? Won't this level of automation lead to, widespread unemployment?
Yeah, it's a valid concern,
Right.
and it's a topic that deserves, careful consideration.
Huh.
I mean, as AI becomes more sophisticated, it's likely that certain jobs will inevitably become automated.
Right.
But it's important to remember that new jobs will also be created.
Okay.
Jobs that require, these uniquely human skills like creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving.
So it's not necessarily about, AI taking our jobs, but more about how it will change the nature of work itself.
Precisely. And as work changes, so too will the skills and education that are needed to actually thrive in this new landscape.
Okay, so we've got AI changing how we work. And now let's talk about robots, specifically humanoid robots.
Okay.
So the newsletter highlights Neura Robotics securing $123 million in funding to develop these humanoid robots for healthcare and logistics.
It's a big number.
Humanoid robots in hospitals and warehouses. It sounds like something out of science fiction.
It might sound futuristic, but I think it's closer to reality than you might think.
Okay.
The significant investment really underscores the growing confidence in robotics and its potential to address, some of the biggest challenges facing our world.
What kind of challenges are we talking about?
Think about the aging population and the increasing need for caregivers.
Yeah.
Or the growing demand for, efficient logistics solutions as e-commerce continues to expand.
Right.
Humanoid robots could actually play a crucial role in filling those gaps.
But are people really ready to, interact with robots that look and act like humans? I mean, it's a little unnerving, isn't it?
Yeah. It's certainly a big adjustment, but I think as the technology advances and becomes more commonplace, we'll see a shift in attitudes.
Okay.
It's already happening, with voice assistants like Alexa and Siri.
Right.
People are becoming much more comfortable interacting with machines in their daily lives.
So are we all going to have robot butlers and nurses in the near future?
Well, maybe not butlers, but robots in healthcare and logistics are definitely on the horizon.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to think about how these advancements will reshape our world. and what role will play in this new robotic landscape.
This is a lot to digest. There's just so much happening so fast.
Yeah.
But that's why we do these deep dives, right?
Absolutely.
To try to make sense of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the key takeaways from this newsletter is that we're living in a time of unprecedented change and opportunity. It's both exhilarating and a little bit daunting, wouldn't you say?
It certainly is. So we've covered a lot of ground already,
We have.
but there's still much more to explore. Should we take a moment to let this all sink in
Yeah, let's take a pause.
before we dive into the next part of our deep dive?
Sounds good.
We'll be back soon to continue our exploration of the future. Stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back. We just scratched the surface of what this Exponential TOM newsletter has to offer. Ready to dive back in?
Absolutely. Let's explore some of the other trends this newsletter highlights, like what's happening in the stablecoin and NFT ecosystems.
Okay, stablecoins first. What's catching your eye there?
Well, the newsletter mentions this significant surge in stablecoin supply on the Solana blockchain, a 57% increase to be exact. And it seems to be connected to the launch of some Trump-themed meme coins.
Meme coins and Trump. That's a combination I wasn't expecting.
It definitely adds an interesting twist to the story. But beyond the meme coin frenzy, I think this surge in stablecoin supply is a sign of just growing activity and interest in the Solana blockchain itself, particularly for, trading and decentralized finance applications.
So it's not just about the meme coins themselves, but what they represent, like increased adoption and use of this specific blockchain.
Exactly. And that's good news for Solana as it competes within that broader crypto landscape.
Right.
It suggests that Solana is gaining traction as a platform for developers and users alike.
Okay, so we've got stablecoins fueling activity on Solana. What about NFTs? We talked about pudgy penguins defying the odds. But what's the overall outlook for the NFT market?
Well, the newsletter acknowledges the decline in overall transaction volume we saw in 2024, which, isn't surprising given the market volatility.
Yeah.
But it also emphasizes the evolving role of NFTs, particularly when it comes to community building and shared ownership.
So are NFTs becoming less about speculation and more about finding those projects with genuine communities and a strong sense of purpose?
I think that's a fair assessment. NFTs are increasingly being seen as more than just, digital art or collectibles.
Right.
They represent a new way to connect with others, build online communities, even support causes you believe in.
It's interesting to see how the technology is evolving beyond that initial hype. It feels like we're just beginning to understand the true potential of NFTs.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's a lot of experimentation and innovation happening right now, which makes the NFT space so dynamic and exciting to watch.
Speaking of exciting and potentially disruptive, let's circle back to AI, particularly the conversation around automation and the future of work. It feels like there are some really strong opinions out there about the potential impacts.
Absolutely. It's a topic that's generating a lot of debate, and for good reason. AI has the potential to fundamentally change how we work and live. On the one hand, it can free us from these tedious tasks, boost productivity, and even lead to the creation of entirely new industries.
But on the other hand, there are legitimate concerns about job displacement, ethical considerations, and the potential for AI to be misused.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's crucial to approach these advancements with both, enthusiasm and a healthy dose of caution. We need open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of AI, and we need to work together to ensure that these technologies are developed and used responsibly.
So how do we navigate this complex and rapidly changing landscape? How can we prepare for a future where AI is increasingly intertwined with our lives?
I think it starts with education and awareness. We need to understand how AI works, its capabilities and limitations, and its potential impact on society as a whole.
Right.
It's also essential to develop, those critical thinking skills so that we can actually discern fact from fiction and make informed decisions about how we interact with these technologies.
So it sounds like a call to action, a call for individuals to become informed and engaged citizens in this technological revolution.
I think that's a great way to put it. We can't afford to be passive observers, We need to be active participants in shaping the future of AI to ensure that it benefits humanity as a whole.
Okay, so we need to educate ourselves, stay informed, engage in those constructive conversations about AI and its implications.
Yeah.
But what about on a more practical level? What skills and knowledge will be most valuable in a world where AI is transforming? industries left and right?
That's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer. But while we can't predict the future with certainty, there are some key areas to focus on.
Okay.
As we discussed earlier, adaptability will be paramount.
Right.
The job market is going to continue to evolve at this incredibly fast pace. So the ability to learn new skills and adjust to new situations quickly will be essential.
So it's not just about what you know right now, but how quickly you can learn and adapt to new information and new challenges.
Precisely. Along with adaptability, creativity, and critical thinking will be, highly sought after skills.
Yeah.
AI is excellent at automating tasks and analyzing data, but it's not as adept at coming up with novel ideas or solving those complex problems that require human intuition and judgment.
So it sounds like the jobs of the future will require a blend of technical skills and those uniquely human qualities like, creativity and critical thinking.
Exactly. And let's not forget about emotional intelligence and strong communication skills.
Right.
As AI takes over more of those routine tasks, the ability to connect with others, build relationships, and effectively communicate ideas will become even more valuable.
It's almost like a return to the fundamentals, a renewed emphasis on those uniquely human qualities that distinguish us from machines.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. As we navigate this exciting and uncertain future, it's important to remember that our human qualities are what make us special, and will continue to be valuable assets in a world that is increasingly influenced by AI.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation, and I feel like we've covered so much ground already. Should we take another quick pause before we dive into the final part of our deep dive?
That sounds like a great idea. Let's give our listeners a chance to absorb all of this information and come back ready for our final thoughts and reflections.
We'll be back shortly to wrap up our deep dive into the future. Stay tuned. We're back for the final part of our deep dive into the future, and wow, what a journey it's been.
It has been, hasn't it?
Crypto AI, robotics. It feels like we're on the verge of some really transformative changes.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time to be alive, but it's understandable if all this rapid change feels a bit overwhelming.
Right.
That's why I think it's important to kind of pause and reflect on what we've learned.
Yeah.
What does it all mean, for us as individuals and for society as a whole?
Okay, let's try to distill all of this down. I mean, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive. What are the biggest takeaways for you?
Well, I think one of the most significant themes is this increasing convergence of all of these different technologies.
Well, yeah.
Crypto is moving into the mainstream. AI is becoming more powerful. Robotics is becoming more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And they're all starting to intertwine in these really interesting ways.
You're right. We saw that with the stable coins on the Solana blockchain.
Yeah.
And we talked about how AI is being used to develop more advanced robots. These separate fields are kind of blurring together.
Exactly. And that convergence is only going to accelerate in the coming years, which creates just incredible opportunities, but also some really complex challenges.
So on the one hand, we could see increased efficiency, new innovations, and maybe even solutions to some of the world's biggest problems.
Right.
But on the other hand, there are those concerns about job displacement, ethical implications,
Right.
the potential for these technologies to be misused.
That's a great summary. And that brings us to another key takeaway: the importance of responsible innovation. As we develop and use these powerful technologies, we need to be mindful of their impact on society.
It's not enough to just get caught up in the wow factor. We need to ask those tough questions about the potential consequences, both intended and unintended.
Absolutely. We have to move beyond the hype and really grapple with how to harness these technologies for good while mitigating the potential downsides.
And that's where we as informed citizens come in.
Right.
We need to understand these technologies, participate in the conversations surrounding them, and be proactive in shaping the future we want to see.
Couldn't agree more. We can't afford to be passive bystanders. The decisions that we make today will have a ripple effect for generations to come.
Okay, so we need to be informed, engaged, and responsible.
Yes.
But how do we prepare ourselves on a personal level to actually thrive in this ever-evolving world? What skills and knowledge will be the most valuable in the years ahead?
That's a great question. And while no one has a crystal ball, there are a few things I think we can focus on.
Okay.
We talked about, adaptability, creativity, and critical thinking being essential.
So being able to learn new things quickly, think outside the box, and solve problems in innovative ways will be critical. I mean, those are valuable skills today.
Yeah.
And they'll be even more important in a world that's increasingly shaped by AI.
Exactly. And let's not forget the importance of human connection and communication in a world that's becoming more digital and automated. The ability to connect with others, build relationships, and communicate effectively will be a huge asset.
It's almost like a return to our roots, like a renewed focus on those uniquely human qualities that make us who we are.
Right.
Empathy, compassion, creativity, the ability to connect with others on like a deeper level.
Right.
These things will set us apart.
I think you've summed it up perfectly. As we conclude this deep dive, I'd like to leave you with one final thought to consider. We're standing at the intersection of some truly remarkable advancements, but the question is, what role will you play in shaping the future? What skills will you cultivate? What knowledge will you seek out? And most importantly, how will you use your unique talents and abilities to make a positive impact?
That's a powerful question and one definitely worth reflecting on.
Yeah,
The future is unfolding right now, and each of us has a part to play in shaping it.
we do.
So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Yes.
The journey is just beginning. And until next time, happy diving.